gonna take a chain and we're gonna sling it around the boom somewhere, somehow, and then we're gonna pick up the Miata with a jack and then chain it up and then set the Miata down on the weight, like the weight of the Miata on the truck, and see what happens. And then we're gonna pull the Miata out and we're gonna put the Jeep up there, which is probably 3 times as heavy, and do the same thing. Because I'm curious to know what's gonna happen with these shocks, and I think all of you guys wanna know too. So we're gonna find out right here, right now. So I built the truck a little too big for the garage, and it doesn't fit, so I gotta drop the boom down. And ironically enough, I have a GoPro mount on the top of the what is that? Headache rack, golly. And that's the video you guys saw from the back when we're in the dirt. And yeah, so that hits the garage door, and I found that out because I cooked one of my GoPros pulling this thing out in the video you saw earlier when I pulled the truck out. Yeah, the GoPro hit and it bent it back, and doesn't work anymore. I don't know why. It got hot, it didn't turn on, won't turn off, won't turn on. Alrighty, so here is the idea. Alright, let me show you something here. So, in theory, pick up the Miata with the jack, get it as high as I can, then wrap chains around the front bumper of Miata, then set weight down, which will then pull down on the boom and then on the truck. Now, from the ground to the driver's side of the pintail, we are sitting at, let's see here, ground, we're sitting at 40 3/4 of an inch. Hold on now. There you go. 40 3/4 of an inch. Describe this load as like maybe a Razor or a Can-Am. Probably the closest, most relatable thing. All right, so measurement wise, we're at, looks like 30 3/4, and we were at where my, oh, hold on here. We were where my pinky is at right now. That's where we were at, and that's what we dropped to. My guess is that I'm gonna pick it up as high as I can, and it's gonna take the thing straight to the ground. The Jeep's gonna go back on the ground. I don't think it's gonna hold the weight of the Jeep at all, but I could be wrong. Let's find out. So my wood broke and it fell. I was halfway right, but I want to pick it up again and maybe sling it from the axle. Clearly, I don't learn from my lesson. But once again, we are still on the ground. So let's take a look real quick. The reason why it was slipping off is because I had a piece of wood under the center and it just pushed out, as you can see. Well, we got an axle going around the axle right there. You can kind of see it, and coming up and up, and we are fully squatted, and the Jeep is still on the ground. 35 3/4. Interesting how it goes down an inch, inches at a time. So my finger was up here. That's how far it dropped. From my finger all the way down to the bed top. So that was a really good test to figure out what it can hold weight-wise. The Jeep didn't surprise me. The Miata, it actually went farther than I thought with the Miata, to be honest with you. I didn't think it'd go that far down, but it held the weight, no big deal. Now we have some options here. Option A are these puppies. These busted coils are out of the 68, actually, F100. So they're obviously designed to hold some weight. I'm not sure what the spring rate of them are, but the weird thing is that these suckers fit right here. Like no problem at all. Now, granted, I'm sure we're gonna add some more weight to the truck and it might come down a little bit because it's only got very little clearance and I got to build a bracket for it. The other option is to make a new lower control arm and then put airbags on it, like right here. So there's a bag off the frame, bracket, and then like a bag. So that way when it squats down, the airbag can just pick it back up and hold the weight. I'm not against either option, personally. It depends on what the wallet thinks is a good option, because I can make those springs work right now with zero cost. I don't know how much airbags would cost me, because then I got to run a tank, bags, lines, compressors. That's probably it, and switch to run the whole thing. So not too bad. I also don't know where I would put it on the truck, so that's going to be interesting. We might just do the coils, at least for now. I can do coils. I can always take them out later. They wouldn't stay in there because they don't need them while I'm driving. So I would design them so I can put them in, hold the weight when we're towing something, and then when we're not towing it, I can just pull them out, put them in the box, or something along those lines. So I don't know, I gotta figure that out, which is why I did this, so that I can think about it over the next 2-3 weeks and kind of get a game plan. So yeah, I have bad news for you. Let me show you. So when I was picking the Jeep up, I don't know if it was the first time or the second time, but both times the Jeep fell. When I went to lower the weight onto the truck, or onto the tow truck, the jack slipped out. And on one of those times, it caught the oil pan. The jack did. I'm a little bent about it. As you can tell, it destroyed that oil pan. Not leaking any fluids currently, but yeah, it didn't have to happen. So I did some researching already. The oil pan is gonna cost me anywhere from $30 to $50, and plus a gasket. So good news is, I was gonna do an oil change anyways, because I'm at my mark to hit oil change, so it's not the end of the world, but it didn't have to happen. So that sucks. All right, so I got some good news for you guys. Take a look. Take a look at this. Zero leakage under the trans pan. How about that? We're still leaking motor oil, and we're still leaking gasoline, but we're not leaking transmission fluid. So that makes me a happy boy. Also, we got 2 glass packs, 2 cherry bombs. You guys know the deal here. 2 downpipes. I'll just cut those up, make them look a little better. And I also have 2 pieces that were originally from the truck that kind of fit over the T-case cross member. All right, so here she is. I don't know how much of this you can see, but it's currently upside down, as so am I. It actually goes like this. But yeah, basically we just put a little taper on that end piece, because it was obviously a full 90. We don't need that. And then just welded it all together. I didn't film any of it because I don't think I have to persuade you guys that I know how to weld. So, all right, so here's the deal. The exhaust at the moment looks like absolute garbage. So I partially, see if I can get that fucking, oh yeah. When I put the lower tube in for the wiring to go up into the center console, that is 100% in my way right now. So as you can tell, driver's side is hanging down a lot more than passenger side, like a lot. And that is due to the tubing that is right there, and it's hitting the exhaust. So that's a problem. This side's obviously clearing the T-case really nicely. It doesn't hit anything. Like, I can move it around. Nothing at all. So that's good. This side is nothing really too clear. It's just kind of sitting there. I just brought it in so that way it wouldn't hit the link bar. And this one's obviously brought in to keep it off of the brake line, which is right here. I have no idea what I'm gonna do to fix that. All right, exhaust is on. We're gonna start this thing up and see how it sounds. I haven't started it yet. But it's got 2 glass packs, 2 cherry bombs. Of course, come on. Good morning. It is another day in the shop. Yesterday, I found some news out. I found out the fuel gauge works. And I found this out because the fuel gauge was on E. And I drove 14 miles until E truly meant E. Fortunately, I ran out of fuel in a gas station, of all places, which was good. And it took a very long time to reprime the fuel pump because it ran out of fuel. So anyhow, I put a full tank in it and it actually reads full tank. Yesterday I drove pretty much just all freeway, all like on-road stuff, just kind of trying to fill the truck out. I did learn that the, you probably can't see inside here. You 100% can't see inside of there. I learned that the floorboard gets immaculately hot. Now, granted, yesterday was 101, and I left at 3 in the afternoon. So, that's obviously gonna make for a hot drive, no matter how you break it down. All right, so I wanna show you guys something. You're probably not gonna agree with it, and I don't care. So, what we got here is a big old square plate, okay? And this square plate has a ton of little holes in it. Actually, they're not holes yet. They're going to be holes. See the little dimples in them? They're all nice and like sectioned off and whatnot. So what this guy is gonna be, this guy is going to be my ground block. So this guy will go right here. Obviously it'll be lifted on a pedestal and whatnot. And then every ground wire that comes down can land on this. And it will be very nice and sexual because it'll be like wire here, wire here, wire here, and then they can go between each other, and they can go between each other. It'll be very nice. And because I plan to have a ton of switches, not out the gate, but in time, I plan to have a ton of wiring going into the truck. So the batteries will be grounded to the cab. And then of course the ground block is grounded to the cab. And then the cab's welded to the frame, so that's grounded to the frame. So all the lights in the back, the ground wires will just go to the frame. They're not gonna go to this ground block. But the ground block is for the center console, so that all of the switches on center console, they can just come down. They can just come down the center console, down the back wall, and then across to the ground block, and it'll all be very, very sexual, very, very nice. I told you, I'm uber anal with wiring, so not gonna slip at all. Not going to cut any corners. We're gonna go around the block. So here's what you're left with. I DA'd the part so it's nice and smooth, and then pretty much this is all the rivets I have at the moment, but obviously the tails would get cut and it'd be all short and correct and whatnot, and there would be wires coming off of this, and it just kind of segregates them, and then the back ones would just lay over the top of the front ones because they wouldn't really hurt anything. So that's kind of what it looks like, and obviously I have a ton of spaces. Is this super overkill? 100%. Is it necessary? No. But it looks great, and it makes everything look sexy and clean, and it just keeps everything neat. With ground block, with the ground wires, they really never go bad. They don't really burn themselves out. Usually it's the positive that will burn itself out. So it's kind of like a bulletproof design. You just put it in, looks good, and then game over, and it stays like that. So it'll sit in there looking nice and pretty. So you guys saw how the negative side is going to be clean and neat. Let me show you the positive side. So for positive side, we have something like this. So we have a fuse block going into a bus bar. The bus bar will obviously battery will go to the bus bar. That'll be nice and tight. We'll have plenty of power going to it. And then you have a 6-post fuse block and a 6-post bus bar. And basically what happens is you have hot wire going from bus bar to fuse block, and then it goes through a fuse, and then it comes out of the block and goes to your accessory. So if anything happens, the fuse will pop and things won't melt. And then of course there's a cap for the bus bar, and there's also a cap for the fuse block. So here she be. It's on a raised pedestal. I had to use Allen keys. I'm not sure if you can see that. Oh, you cannot. So here she is. She's on a raised pedestal, as you can tell, but it's looking pretty spicy. There's an Allen key here, there, and that corner, and then this corner has nothing. Like you can see, my hand goes underneath the whole corner. Nothing there because it goes to aluminum, but that's okay. It only needs 3. And then the positive platform will sit probably like right here, so that wires can come out. Obviously there'd be a gap for the wires to go in and out or whatever, but positive platform right here with all the positive blocks. So they're segregated, and then black wires go down, red wires go across. So the ground block is in, that is done. I'm gonna let you guys go on this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you had a good time. The truck is really close. All we have left, in all honesty, to get it to actually function would be alternator, batteries, wiring everything up, so the winches, wiring them all up, and then wiring up the lights, brake lights, just a couple pod lights so we can do some night stuff. It will still get a roof rack at some point in time, but not right now, so I'll put a couple lights in the front so we can see stuff at night. But yeah, winches, alternator, batteries, and then I need to get the springs in on the axle, because I can't pick up really anything other than like the Miata. So as you guys saw in, I think it's this video actually, yeah. So we're gonna get that on, and then it's time to use it, put it to work, and get it in the field, make it do things, break it, figure it out, work with it. If I put a roof rack on it, I won't be able to get out of the garage or back in the garage. So I'm a little on the fence about that right now, just because of the situation that I'm in, but that'll come eventually. So lights will just have to go on the front bumper and things like that, because I can't go too much higher or else I can't get out of the garage. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one once again. Of course, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how you feel about it. Let me know how you feel about the oil pan on the Jeep. You guys know how I feel. Let me know how you feel. You probably think I'm a dumbass, and you're probably right. Have a good one.